Biashara Tuesday on KUTV Rise Today. I'm your host, Richard Okenya. Thank you very much for keeping up with this broadcast. It is 7:55 in the morning. We are entering into the launch. It is, as we are even talking about the spread of the COVID-19 and whether or not the prospects by the government to reopen the economy are viable and effective as it is important as professionals to understand how COVID-19 has changed things around, as we are eagerly planning to resume our economic activities as well as put the crisis behind us. Now, a survey was conducted on 7,400 professionals in this country to understand how their lives were affected and how the job market adjusted to that. And this study found out that 35% of the surveyed professionals lost their work due to COVID-19 issues that have been crippling key economic centers all across the world. And now, to put this into context, in the Kenyan context, we are here with Nelly Mutula. Thank you very much for joining me. You, first of all, as an introduction, where do you come from, and tell us a little bit about this survey that was conducted.
Perfect. Thank you very much for having us today. So I come from a company called Fuzu, and I hope most of your viewers have actually heard about Fuzu. So the best way I can be able to describe Fuzu is we are your career partner. We essentially support people who are looking to grow in their career or even get into the job market to essentially understand what are the skills, how do they create their profile, how do they connect to the right opportunities, what do they need to know, what are employers looking for. And based on this survey, we recently, so this was conducted on around as you've mentioned, 7,400 of our Fuzu users. So we sent out the survey to them, and it was just to get to understand, okay, how has COVID affected your employment? So we started off with just getting to understand how many people have lost their jobs, if there are those ones who are still employed, because we all know that there are people, you know, someone who has either lost their job or not.
How many people, how are the rates looking like across the country in terms of the people who have lost their job? Okay,
so we can probably start with in terms of profession. So profession is what you do on a day-to-day. So this will be, are you an accountant, are you a HR person, are you an IT person? So when you look at that, we can find that a bigger percentage of them was mainly in the customer-facing roles. So customer-facing roles are roles like sales, roles in insurance, roles in healthcare, roles in travel. Those are the roles that are mainly affected.
What are the most sought skills right now as the COVID-19 pandemic stands?
I mean, that's a very good question. So you find there's a bigger percentage of people who are still working. So most of the things that people are looking for is more on adaptability. So are you able to adapt to the current way of working? I know you know people who are probably working from home. So then how have you adapted to the new way of working? Apart from that, there's also a bit of self-motivation. Are you able to motivate yourself and kind of be able to manage yourself without any supervision that is needed? The other thing that is also relevant is also IT skills. And IT skills comes with also the ability for you to be able to work from home. So is it Microsoft? Is it just being able to understand different softwares? Is it being able to understand different tools that you need for you to be able to do your job well? Yeah.
And we are seeing that the impact of COVID-19 is different on different levels of management throughout organizations or seniority levels. How would you say this has affected from the junior level to senior management in organizations?
Okay, so based on this survey, one thing that we've noticed is all seniorities have been affected in one way or the other. But then the mainly affected one is more on entry level and junior professions as compared to managerial position. And this can be attributed to the fact that the company, when a company is thinking about letting people go, it's always looking at, okay, who has more experience to be able to do two roles, or we can merge multiple positions between one. But definitely all seniorities have been affected, with the major one being on entry level and junior professions.
So should organizations cut down on employment or seek means of adaptability for their employees?
I think I would actually recommend most of the employers have tried to figure out how do we still maintain our staff while still figuring out the business and the economics that is happening around. So the best thing is, how do you ensure that you training your people to be able to adjust to this current way of working? It would be good if past COVID or post COVID you still have a team or you still have employees that you're able to rely on. So it's all about being able to adapt and adopt different ways of working now.
Maybe a question I would love to get your personal feedback on. How would someone on senior management level motivate their employees, especially during this period when some of them are experiencing cuts in terms of their salary and general lack of motivation, especially since we are going through a pandemic? How would you say they would motivate their employees?
Okay, I think motivation at this point is just being able to understand people and where they currently are. So if you're part of an organization where you've had to let people go, what support are you giving to these people? Are you giving them more on ways in which they can be able to still learn or even still work in a way, even without pay or with pay? But the key thing is being able to give people learning opportunities. And learning opportunities can either be providing them with courses that they need to take, or even getting them to shadow you as a senior manager within the organization to be able to understand, or to get to understand what skills do you have that I can be able to adopt as well.
So employment rates across industries, various industries in the country right now, how is it looking like when you move from the Juakali sector to the IT sector to commerce? How are the employment rates looking like right now?
That's a very good question. And one of the things that we noticed from this survey was that there definitely has been an impact on industries. But the one that has not been affected that much is roles within the NGO, project management, and government sector. And this maybe can be attributed to more workload on that specific part. But when it comes to other industries like banking, insurance, like whatever, hospitality, there are so many of those that have been affected. But the key one is when it comes to NGO and project management roles, those are still opportunities that are available.
Has your company in itself adapted to the changes that are currently happening in the economy?
Okay, that's a very good question. So one of the things that we did was we are a digital company. So working for us from home was not really so difficult, but we also had to adapt to ways in which you can keep the team engaged. So we have different team check-ins every single morning or every single day, just to make sure that people are on track of what they're supposed to do. But then apart from that, it's also been able to provide our career builders who are part of the platform with access to webinars that they can be able to attend, for them to even get to understand, okay, what do I need to do during this period? How do I create a good profile? How do I link up with employers who are hiring? Yeah.
All right, so we are talking about the effect of the COVID-19, especially now that the country is looking towards reopening the economy gradually. How do you think that we can take the nation's collective strength and figure out how to overcome some of the challenges that have been brought forth by this pandemic, even as we want our businesses and places of work to reopen, to steer ahead the economy?
Okay, so maybe a very good recommendation, not really recommendation, but just to congratulate the government for what they have done so far. I mean, shutting the economy was good in a way, so it kind of helped to stop the spread of COVID. But then the key thing is, when it comes to employers, and what the government has been able to do is just adapting the different safety measures that they've been able to put in place for us to be able to go back to that point where we can all probably work from the office. We don't need to work from home. We need to be able to adopt those different measures that the government has been able to recommend for every workplace. Yeah.
All right, so maybe to bring it down to the business level, is there a responsibility, since you've congratulated the government for putting in a few measures, is there a responsibility by businesses and workplaces to ensure that their customers and also their employees are safe during this period?
Definitely, and this is where, as long as, if you don't need people to work from the office, we've gotten to that point where technology can do a lot for people. So this is a point where if you don't need people to actually be in the office, this is where you now have people work from home, even come up with remote working policies that allow your employees not even to have to travel and mingle with people every single day. This is also where you are able to engage with your customers through teleconferencing. You don't really need to have to meet face-to-face for you to be able to do business with anyone. So just being able to use the different technology aspects that are out there will be able to work for every employer or every business.
All right, maybe lastly, because I see that we are short of time, what are the new opportunities that you think as an individual and also as businesses in the country are the new opportunities that they are facing with the change of the environment?
Okay, so I would say COVID has actually allowed different businesses to just reflect on how they've been doing work, and some of the things that we thought would never be able to work. I mean, would you have ever thought people would work from home and actually work? No, but this is the point where we've been able to know that time management is something that will be good for businesses to train their people on. But then apart from that is reflecting on how technology has had an impact on your business and how you can be able to leverage on it more just to ensure that you're pushing your business forward. When it comes to job seekers, it's around, okay, if you've lost your opportunity or you've lost your job, how do you prepare yourself for the future? And this is the time that you take to actually create a very good CV. You network with people. You are able to talk to career coaches who can just let you know what you have now and what you need for the future. Yeah.
All right. And that is exactly the impact that the coronavirus pandemic has had on different professionals across the country. Getting Nelly right there to actually delve into exactly how professionals can adjust, on how much the employment has been affected, on how much business have been affected, on how even as a business owner or as management of a business, you can ensure that your employees and your customers are safe during this period. Remember, this is Biashara Tuesday, where we get to break down for you. Thank you very much for coming through to help me actually talk about on how we can steer the economy forward. I don't know whether you are optimistic or pessimistic of the reopening of the economy.
I am very optimistic. I know things will be well. We'll probably never go to that point where we can all work from the office, but it's definitely good for the future.
All right.
Yes.
So I would love to hear your feedback more on that. Fuzu has hit 1 million subscribers.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. And we're happy to have everyone who is part of that 1 million. And we're just here to be able to, thank you very much. We're just here to be able to support them with their career growth. Yes.
All right, so I hope we will build up with more with you in the future, and also get more time, even as the numbers grow, to come and actually discuss more on what is happening in the economy.
We'll be glad to. Yes.
Thank you very much. Also, stay tuned. I'll be back after this short break.